Hi, my name is Joanna Whitney. I am an intuitive artist, a student of natural law, and an energy healer. And I'm going to be reading from the Kybalion by the Three Initiates. First, however, I'm going to talk about my experience this week after trying out some of the things we were discussing last time. I did declare that the all is in all, and all is in the all many times this week, in addition to my other statements that I make throughout the day where I pray. I pray a lot. I ask for God's help a lot for a lot of things. I also do the nature prayer where if I have a wasp's nest, I do a coning, and I can put a link to the prayer that I say in the description. It's on my website. And so I had a wasp's nest this week, and I did a coning for the wasps to move on, and they did. I always give them 24 hours. And I always know, like, that if I see something like that, my partner will probably, just do the normal thing and spray them or something like that. So I always do a coning, which is based on the work of Michelle Smallwright and Fintorn. So I'll leave a link for that, as I said. And the wasps left within 24 hours. And also we had some kittens born in our backyard by some feral cats. And I did a coning for them. And one of them was adopted this week by my neighbor. And I did a coning about the mosquitoes because I know my partner is going to do something about the mosquitoes. So I did a prayer about them moving on. And I think they did, because we were doing some yard work today and they weren't around. So, so I've been saying the all is in all and all is in the all whenever there's been a conflict. I do it for healing work, and I use my fingertips on whatever part of my body is in pain, and then it's removed. I did it for the chemtrails. I just looked at the chemtrails and made a statement that the all is in all, and all is in the all. And a chemtrail plane disappeared out of the air while I was doing that. I haven't seen any other ones this week. And I've used it on some other things. Like I've used it, and it feels like I'm taking DMT when I do it, honestly. I haven't actually taken DMT, but I have done a breath work exercise that released a great deal of DMT into my brain. And it was just like that. It was like I was tripping. I have tripped in my life, not recently, but in the old days, back when I was in my early 20s. So it was like that. It felt like that, but very subtle, much more subtle. It wasn't like LSD. It was more like mushrooms, but not as intense at all. It was more like DMT because it was just like a lightweight experience of, I can't really describe it. It was a spiritual type of experience that I induced by stating the all is in all and all is in the all while staring at something that was disagreeable to me, chemtrails, as well as some other things. I've had some weird experiences this week with conflict, people mainly on social media attacking me for things that I didn't do. And I stated that the all is in all and all is in the all for that. And that things just seem to evaporate, most of them. Something else did happen this week that was sort of hasn't been resolved yet, but I'm confident that it's going to be resolved. And so my conclusion that I'm drawing from that is that this is very powerful, that we as humans are like connectors between the cosmic energy and the earth energy. And we have this power to be able to declare that things are in alignment with natural law. We can declare that something that appears to be completely in opposition to natural law, we can declare that it is in alignment with natural law, and then it will go back into alignment as a result of our declaration. Now, this may not work if you're lying, cheating, and stealing in other areas. I don't know. I can only say for myself that I attempt to be honest in all my affairs, and I attempt to live by the golden rule, so that I believe that gives me more power than it might give someone who was, what's that phrase, asking for forgiveness rather than permission. Someone who's doing that may not have access to the power that I have access to as a result of living a moral existence and trying to go the extra mile for my brothers and sisters. But that is my experience this week doing this extra work that we read about in the Kybalion last week. So I'm just encouraging everyone to try it and try the other things. Try, if you have like extreme negative thinking, try to do the 7-day mental diet, which I'll also make available so that you clear out your negative thinking. And then also with regards to mentalism, you pay attention to the thoughts that are going through your mind, and any negative thought that goes through your mind, you either ask God to remove it, or you make the statement that the all is in all and all is in the all for every negative statement that goes through your mind, or every negative assessment that you make. That is aligning yourself with mentalism, because the thing is that we have our habitual ways that we think, but I believe that in the ancient past, people knew that they had to keep their minds clean and clear of negative thoughts. I think that they probably were aware that they had to think only good thoughts, because they knew that their thoughts were causal and that they were sowing negativity, which they would later reap. And these days, we don't know this stuff. It's all been occulted by the dark occult Luciferians, who want that power differential to be able to control us. And they want us to be thinking negatively. They want us to be reaping chaos. They want us to be in constant fear, so that basically we create the chaos, and we basically kill each other off, so they don't have to do so much work, so that they can have their, new world order or whatever they want, and reduce the population and destroy the earth for whatever their nefarious purpose they're doing that. So, we have an obligation, if we want the world to become better, to take the reins of the wild horses of our minds. It's like we're in a chariot We have two horses, a black horse and a white horse, and we have the reins, but we haven't learned how to drive the chariot, and the horses are running wild in different directions. So we have to take a hold of our minds and train the horses to take us where we want to go. And it's difficult, meditation, concentration, visualization. And one of the main things that we have to do, excuse me, is to not allow negative thoughts. And I don't know about you guys, but I have rampant negative thoughts. I'm constantly thinking about, excuse me, I don't know why I'm hoarse, but I'm constantly thinking about how this one did me wrong and that one did me wrong and why this one did me wrong and that one, this and that and the other. I even talk out loud in the car. I have conversations with people who aren't there. And then I realize what I'm doing and I say, God, please take care of this. Or I now say, the all is in all and all is in the all. And then I have peace for a little while. And then I notice that I'm talking out loud to somebody in the car again, and I have to do it again. And I've been doing this for over 25 years. Honestly, I have been practicing this. And I think before 2020, I had established some equilibrium with this, but the way things are now, it's pretty difficult. So, but it's what I have to do. It's my responsibility. And there are monks that pray without ceasing. That's their goal in life, is to pray without ceasing. And I will tell you that I worked at Home Depot for 2 years. And that's where I learned how to pray without ceasing, because it was so horrible to work there. Mainly because I just witnessed constant dishonesty going around me, and I had no idea what to do all the time. So I was constantly praying, like I was constantly praying on the in-breath, God on the in-breath, God on the out-breath. And I got into the habit of that. And I also learned some amazing things about natural law from doing that. But, you'll have your own experience with this stuff. And I just recognized this week that this had a great deal to do with mentalism, that keeping my mind on track with positivity has to do with my replicating the all in my creation of my mind. So I wanted to pass that on. So I'm going to go into the book now. I'm on page 49. The Hermetic teachings concerning the process of the mental creation of the universe are that at the beginning of the creative cycle, the all, in its aspect of being, projects its will toward its aspect of becoming, and the process of creation begins. All right, let's look at that for a second. So it says the Hermetic teachings, which are all capitalized, concerning the process of the mental creation of the universe, which is capitalized, are that at the beginning of the creative cycle, which is capitalized, the all, in its aspect of being, which is capitalized, projects its will toward its aspect of becoming, which is in quotes, and the process of creation begins. So what does this mean? I think it means that the all projects its aspect of being, its will, toward its aspect of becoming. That's why these words are capitalized, because it's referring back to the all. And then the process of creation begins, which is not capitalized. So that's referring to us. We're the creation and we're not capitalized. It is taught that the process consists of lowering of vibration until a very low degree of vibratory energy is reached, at which point the grossest possible form of matter, which is capitalized, is manifested. This process is called the stage of involution, in which the all becomes involved or wrapped up in its creation. This process is believed by the Hermetists to have a correspondence to the mental process of an artist, writer, or inventor who becomes so wrapped up in his mental creation as to almost forget his own existence, and who, for the time being, almost lives in his creation. If instead of wrapped, we use the word rapt, R-A-P-T, perhaps we will give a better idea of what is meant. So I looked up the word wrapped, and it means lifted up and carried away, like the rapture. So I have that experience being an artist. I can completely understand that. However, I would have to be single-minded while doing the artwork. To get into the zone, I would no longer be thinking. But prior to getting into the zone, I would have to be focused on what I was doing. And I know part of my problem with doing art recently has been that I would be talking to people who weren't there, and I'd be doing that prayer thing to try to get out of my head, out of the conscious mind, and into the subconscious mind. It's been a long time since I've been able to do this, and I'm sure that has to do with, the smartphones and social media, which I'm completely addicted to. I don't know about you guys. But that's very interesting. And it's also interesting because involution, you see, that's very interesting because the involution is sort of, yeah, they're saying that the all reduces its vibration and goes into involution. And involution does not seem to be positive, really. It's yin. It's a yin thing, and it doesn't seem good. Like we're in a state of involution right now. We're not in a state of evolution, evolution. We're going backwards rather than forwards right now. All right, this involuntary stage of creation is sometimes called the outpouring of the divine energy, just as the evolutionary state is called the indrawing. The extreme pole of the creative process is considered to be the furthest removed from the all, while the beginning of the evolutionary stage is regarded as the beginning of the return swing of the pendulum of rhythm, a coming home idea being held in all the Hermetic teachings, like the breath. You can imagine this in the breath. So, when you breathe in and then there's a pause, and then you breathe out and then there's a pause, you could experience it that way. So this is evolution, and this is involution, evolution, involution, evolution, involution. The teachings are that during the outpouring, the vibrations become lower and lower until finally the urge ceases and the return swing begins. And there is this difference that while in the outpouring, the creative forces manifest compactly and as a whole. Yet from the beginning of the evolutionary or indrawing stage, there is manifested the law of individualization. That is the tendency to separate into units of force, so that finally that which left the all as unindividualized energy returns to its source as countless highly developed units of life, having risen higher and higher in the scale by means of physical, mental, and spiritual evolution. So that's us. We are individualized units of force. And similar to that story I read, the Buddhist story, I think it was a Buddhist story, or I can't remember, Hindu story about the gods deciding to hide the all within us so that we would not look for him there. Remember that story? I'll see if I can dig it up. And then it's basically saying that once we're individualized as humans, then we have to, that's our job here on Earth, is to rise higher and higher in the scale by means of physical, mental, and spiritual evolution. That's what we're doing here on the planet Earth. This is a mystery school here. And I mean, if we knew that it was a mystery school, we could really evolve to a point where we could be amazing, you know. And there are certain people who have had these gifts. Recently, I came upon a book by someone named Dale Pond about John Keeley, who was an inventor in the late 1800s who had inherent ability and invented something called, I'm not going to remember the whole name, sympathetic something physics. And he created the Keeley motor. And Nikola Tesla used his work. That's where Nikola Tesla got his work from, was from John Keeley. And other people who had gifts like this are Rudolf Steiner and Edgar Cayce. People are born with these inherent gifts to understand that this is a mystery school and we have this obligation to grow spiritually and to help humanity. But not everybody has that because it's been occulted. And now we've become a very materialistic society. The ancient Hermetists used the word meditation in describing the process of the mental creation of the universe in the mind of the all. The word contemplation also being frequently employed. But the idea intended seems to be that of the employment of the divine attention. Attention is a word derived from the Latin root meaning to reach out, to stretch out. And so the act of attention is really a mental reaching out, extension of mental energy, so that the underlying idea is readily understood when we examine into the real meaning of attention. The Hermetic teachings regarding the process of evolution are that the all, having meditated upon the beginning of the creation, having thus established the material foundations of the universe, having thought it into existence, then gradually awakens or rouses from its meditation, and in so doing starts into manifestation the process of evolution on the material, mental, and spiritual planes successively and in order. Thus, the upward movement begins, and all begins to move spiritward. Matter becomes less gross, the units spring into being, the combinations begin to form, life appears and manifests in higher and higher forms, and mind becomes more and more evidence, the vibrations constantly becoming higher. In short, the entire process of evolution in all of its phases begins and proceeds according to the established laws of the indrawing process. All of this occupies eons upon eons of man's time, each eon containing countless millions of years, but yet the illumined inform us that the entire creation, including involution and evolution of an universe, is but as the twinkle of the eye to the all. So I'm going to stop there and challenge every one of us to try to experience this week, try to break down these processes in our daily life through this week and see how that manifests.